Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my lounge, and I do apologize for the background noise. Unfortunately, the neighbor is building something in his backyard. But never mind. Make yourselves comfortable, grab a coffee or some tea, and let's get on with it. And then I also have the dogs in the room with me, so it is quite noisy. But let's carry on regardless. Now, I said this before and I will say it again. I'm not psychic. I don't know anything about tarot cards, do not have a crystal ball, and sometimes just cannot explain how I think, feel, and say things just for it to happen weeks or months later, particularly when it comes to the royals. Let's start at a point, and maybe with a little luck, I will get to illustrate what I just said. I tend to interrupt myself lately as my mind seems to be all over the place. Okay, Harry's UK visa application has now indeed been handed over to Judge Nichols. A court filing this week reads, Defendant, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, respectfully informs the court that it has complied with the court's March 7, 2024 order by submitting declarations with attachments for ex parte review. Now that means a review in private. Okay, now when it comes to this, I do not feel or think much unless I am cornered to say what I think or to lightheartedly predict what I think will happen. In which case, I think nothing will come of it. Zilch will happen. The political influence, the influence of the king, and whoever else has a finger in this rotten pie is far too great. They, or the judge, will argue that making Harry's application public or even just handing it over to the Heritage Foundation will set a precedent in itself, blah, blah, blah. But I think that behind the scenes there will be a strict or strong warning going out to Harry about being so open and public about his drug use. Of course, in this instance, I sincerely hope I'm wrong, and maybe I will be, because reading Homeland Security's argument, it is clear that there were factual inaccuracies and a very weak argument. It almost looked like the lawyers only acted because they were instructed to, and not because they wanted to or were particularly interested. So we will wait and see. But what I was right about, and am still right about, and will still be right about tomorrow, unless something drastic happens to upset the apple cart, is that, one, there are some contingency plans being made for Harry and Meghan to return to Britain. And I'm being told that these plans include a grace and favour home, one which Meghan will more than likely be happy with, and the royal security back. However, I am also told that although Harry and Meghan still, or would still, have 101 demands, which is very typical of them, it is Harry more so than Meghan who is kicking against the plan. And at the moment, it looks likely only to happen if Harry is forced to leave the United States. So there is that. Number two, I'm also told that there is a plan B in place, and that this is a bit of a longer-term plan. According to this plan, the palace, with the help of Meghan and Harry, will start a positive media blitz will become the liaison between Meghan and Harry and the media, and will work on the same premise and fashion as Mark Bolland did to rebuild and build Camilla's reputation and image. And I am told the king is 100% behind the plan. Now, I barely had this online discussion when this came out from the Mirror. Exclusive. Meghan Markle beginning to feel uncomfortable with life in Montecito, claims royal expert. This is then repeated in the Daily Record. Now, the so-called revelation comes from Tom Quinn, a royal author or royal expert, depending on which day of the month it is, but fact remains that he has written several books on the royals, and the thing is that I don't know what to make of Mr. Quinn. Well, would I or should I trust someone who refers to Meghan Markle as a global superstar? Someone who acted as a talking head or then gossip monger on BBC News and Sky News? I don't know. But at this point, the likes of Mr. Quinn is, number one, making his living and income from writing and talking about the royal family, and number two, does not seem to have any particular love for the royal family, except maybe for Queen Elizabeth II, and he appears to have a myriad of excuses for the king readily at hand. In my opinion, just the right person to use to feed the media palace fabricated stories. Now, shortly before this headline came, the articles and photographs of Meghan visiting a children's hospital in Los Angeles, wearing an Oscar de la Renta dress worth more than £3,300. So what does this remind us of? If you can't guess, which I'm sure you can, I will tell you. This kind of visit is very, very typical of royal visits to hospitals and children's wards in particular. It is what Diana did, Catherine and Sophie did, and still do. But something we have not really seen Meghan do before, did we? Now, I see someone said, and it had allegedly been confirmed by the hospital, that the visit took place some time ago. And I think it is quite possible because Meghan wore that particular dress before, supposedly during their Platinum Jubilee visit to England. But the first time we got to see it, it was in the Netflix documentary trailer, which of course we saw in December 2022, nearly a year and 4 months ago. Okay, so if I should or could go along with those who say this visit took place nearly 2 years ago, I would guess that it was part of the footage which landed on the cutting room floor. And guys, if that was the case, then it's further proof for me that the other photograph, which was supposed to have been taken at Frogmore, was likely just another cut and paste. But guys, although it is interesting to speculate about why, where, and when, what is important is the timing of when this came out. I mean, just think about it. So suddenly, and for no reason, Meghan releases photographs of herself in an expensive yet very matronly dowdy dress, visiting sick children miles away from her home with a photographer and videographer in tow. Doesn't sit right with me. Something we have not really seen her do as a working royal either. No, my friends, this is not WMEPR. Well, I mean, WME is a talent company and not a PR company anyway. This is Palace, Buckingham Palace, Charles's office's type of PR. It has been done before, and it appears it's being done again. So yes, my dear friends, as heartbreaking as it may be, I think there are moves to bring the Harkles back to England. Now listen carefully. I am not saying that it will happen soon, or even that it will happen at all, but I'm saying that there are moves from the palace to make it possible. I think we need to start reading the room. The media is indeed full of it. How Charles would love to reconcile, to get to know his grandchildren, etc. And I believe the Mark Bolland Camilla style PR has already started. What I just mentioned being an example of it. I think the next move will be the sycophants telling us how the sick king would like to spend his last years with both his sons and grandchildren around him, toying with our emotions. So yes, I did indeed predict this, and that is why I did a video on the dangers of the sycophants. And soon, if it hasn't started already, we will be bombarded with what an asset Meghan will be for the monarchy, I mean diversity and all that, and how the military has missed Harry, how there are too few younger royals to fill the gaps, blah, blah, blah. Soon, my dears, soon, because I am in possession of yet another piece of gossip all the way from the United States, and which I think is rather significant and 100% supports what I said in this particular video. But I'm going to leave that for the next video. Call it a cliffhanger. Okay, but yes, it will take some time to tell you about it. Okay, guys, we had a bit of a rough morning sorting out all my electronics, dealing with the school and extra math classes for Dragonman, filling in forms for additional work for my daughters, scanning some designs for new merch. Yes, we need a retaining wall built, gutters replaced, tiles in my bedroom. So we are doing whatever we can to do for our already busy hands and minds. It is hectic and the days are short. Luckily, the dogs don't care about us being busy. They only care about it being much warmer in our beds. So off I go. So long, my friends. And in the iconic words of one of my Springbok radio favorites from my youth, if I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. Take care. Bye.